How's it going, YouTube? It's Elvin Ninja 7, your resident Mistweaver monk, and today I am bringing you guys my very first attempt at a plus 20. It's a plus 20 Halls of Valor. It's a fortified week. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. There's no point in making an intro. I'm in the playback so that I can actually do it, not do it all in editing. But I'm pretty sure the plan here was to pull these first two packs together, then Lust. I think the idea is to have Lust up for the second boss because this first boss is kind of a cakewalk if you do the mechanics, and you guys should see that. Spoiler alert. So first off, if you've watched one of my videos in the past, you'll notice that my UI is completely jacked up. Basically, I loaded in without my weak auras for some reason. So this whole pack, I'm like, oh my god, what do I do? I'm so dependent on these weak auras, but I'm like, just play clean, get through it, and we can reset before the boss. And that is the plan. So I try reapplying my ancient teachings as often as I think to do so. I'm trying to look down at my bars as little as possible. So I basically try to go in without my cooldowns, but I'm just doing my DPS cycling of my kicks, prioritizing Blackout Kick because I know it's off cooldown all the time. Whereas like I'm pressing Rising Sun Kick a little less than normal probably just because I don't want to have to look down to see if it's off cooldown. But we're just prioritizing this healing. These packs, one theme you'll notice in this entire dungeon is it's very frontal heavy, and these little dudes are very frontal heavy. Maybe I can get the that's not what we want. Oh my god, y'all ever seen that before? A 360 video? That's yikes. But I mean, that's basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to stay off of our tank. Now, it's always a great idea, I think, especially when starting out on healing or just on playing. And as you see here, I'm going to reset. But it's always a good idea to put a mark on your tank, especially in frontal heavy dungeons. But I'm actually going to skip this boss fight. I'll let it load in really quick. I just reset my weak auras. And I'm reloading. It's taking forever. And as you see, I am locked out of the boss room. I made a completely separate video on this. They actually ended up killing the boss without me. Please go check out that video. It's really good. Or at least I think so. You know, I like all my content. I'll be honest. So yeah, we kill the boss. It's very close. As you see, some people died at the very end, but they ended up doing it, and I ended up dying to Stormy as well, or whatever the affix is. I lied and said I lagged out, which I didn't. Obviously, I was resetting so I can get my weak auras back. Here they are, the big chunky things in the middle of the screen. I lagged out and came back in. Shut up, LB Ninja. Come on. Such a liar. But, yeah, here, it gets iffy if we're going to pull that big dude, but no, we just pull up the stairs and we do a big double pull. I like this pull a lot, but it does get dangerous. There's a couple casts you need to interrupt. The Etch does a lot of damage, single target damage, and see there's a lot of healing to do. And then the Rune of Healing, you can kick it, but it just puts down that big circle, and if the ads stand in it, they'll heal. So you got to watch out for that. But another thing you got to watch out for is frontals. I mean, this is Frontal City, and this pack is no exception. As you see, the Rogue just got hit by one. Me and the Druid, the Feral Druid, just got hit by one. So yeah, you definitely got to watch out for those. I am keeping my distance, dodging tornadoes, watching that edge cast, and just trying to get as much damage as possible. The Rogue, the Rogue succumbed to the frontal. He just got flattened. But yeah, that that edge cast just hit me. Does a lot of damage. But yeah, for the most part, we ended up killing the rest of this pack pretty easy. So I'll move forward just a tad. Alright. Moving inside, we can go either right or left. Right has Fenryr as the boss. Left has Hyrja as the boss. Hyrja's a lot harder. A lot harder. It's a big healing check, so a lot of groups like to go it first. Not only because it's just the most efficient, but mainly because they want to see if the group can handle it, basically. If you just wipe on Hyrja or if it goes poorly, then it's just best to just, like, honestly, a lot of people think it's best to leave. But as you see here, I'd get 3 people down really low. That would have been the perfect time to use our new spell, but I end up just range casting. But this pack, like basically every other pack, any guys with swords or shields in this dungeon have a frontal. So yeah, so let's go ahead and get into what this comp is. So I am obviously a Mistweaver. You guys know that. You guys are probably Mistweavers too. But we have a feral druid and a prot warrior. There's a rogue here, but rogues are just like always in and out of the meta. Nothing special. But yeah, man, prot warrior. Oh, and there's a marksmanship hunter, which this was post nerf. I know they've been basically reworked, and I have heard my raids marksmanship hunter complaining a lot, saying that it's a lot worse. So this is post nerf marksmanship, but if you played back in Shadowlands, you guys will know that this never would have happened in Shadowlands. Having a prot warrior and a Mistweaver in the same room, it only happened for me once the entirety of Shadowlands, and I made a video out of it. That's how special it was, and it was one of my better performing videos because prot warriors were horrible. They were a joke, and Mistweavers were, and still kind of are, horrible and a joke. So as you see, the druid accidentally pulled the big dude, but it's honestly not that much of a problem. I'm pretty sure he has like an aura that buffs the dudes around him, or at least that's how I like to think of it, because you usually only pull them alone, and I feel like even if I have the mechanic wrong, that's still a healthy way to think about it, is he just buffs everyone around him, so only pull them with themselves. So but yeah, we're staying out of that frontal. The tank tanked it in the corner because that's the furthest to the left, so that we don't pull anything. And the furthest, obviously, just the furthest away from things. Rogue comes back, dies immediately. Or I'm sorry, that was the feral that died earlier. But the rogue gets hit by that big round circle. You want to move out of that, obviously. But those crackles, they do about half your health. And he kind of makes it apparent where he's about to shoot him. He turns and says crackle. So, but yeah, we're tanking still in this corner just because there are some patrols. We might have already pulled the patrols, or maybe there aren't any on this side. But yeah, we're still just being safe. This guy does not have a frontal. Yeah, it has that crackle, but it's like a directional frontal. Will turn his direction. So I'm just doing single target damage as much as I can, moving out of lines. I'm actually going to skip the rest of this guy because it's really nothing special. Alright, so we come up on this 4-pack, and as always, they have frontals. I'm pretty sure it's Mortal Hue that's the frontal, but I'm just staying behind the pack. We don't have a mark on the tank. We should. I think it's, like I said earlier, it's always good to do so, especially on frontal dungeons. But staying out of these swirlies that spawn, staying out of his frontals, and the feral's doing good, the rogue's doing good. So it shouldn't be a problem. Easy pack as long as you don't get hit. If someone does get clipped by a frontal, it's not the end of the world. If they get hit by 2, that they're probably going to die. Just like the druid did earlier. I'm pretty sure it was the druid or the rogue on that first or second pack. First pack after the first boss. So this pack got 2 of those same frontal dudes. I mean, it's a broken record at this point. But the main chick, that Valkyrie chick with Archangel or something, she charges up her shield and then shoots a beam straight ahead of her. That will one-shot even the tank. It does massive amounts of damage. But I want you guys to note the hunter. He is actually doing a tech on the right side of the screen. She will target someone out in range. It might be the furthest person. It might just be someone out in range. It might have a limit. But basically, she'll target one of the ranged players like that. She'll charge up, flap on her wings, and then she'll jump to them. Now, the tech is you can hide. You can LOS down below that little where it converges, that platform. And the reason why you do that is, one, she'll land on you and do a ton of damage. That's one reason, but you can survive that. I don't think it one-shots, but it does a lot of damage, so it's just safe to do so. But it just makes it a patchwork thing. It just makes it a damage. You can just purely pump damage, and that is why a lot of people do it. A lot of high-end people do it. Even though that one person's missing out on damage, everyone else doesn't have to move. Like, since we're a full melee group, it's just good. But now I got to talk about this. This is Eye of the Storm. This 2-pack is right before the boss. There's this dude and then the other dude on the other side. they have the boss abilities, and it's kind of to preempt you of, hey, this boss is about to hurt and this is what they're going to do. So this side, when you pull the boss to this side, it'll do Eye of the Storm. When you pull the boss to this side, it'll do this guy's ability, which is Sanctify. But Eye of the Storm is the nightmare. Sanctify, he just spews out a bunch of things. You just have to dodge them. You can stay in melee technically, but I'm like 99% sure you get hit. But I just like to play it safe, making sure if someone gets healed, I'm ready to top them up. I am just making sure to dodge those. And kicking the Searing Light cast if I can. Like right there, I kicked it. And then if someone gets hit, just getting ready to heal them. But right now, right before the boss, I know I'm going to need a full mana bar. So I am eating up, and I'm actually going to do so in real life. Give me a second. So, as you saw when we pulled, there's that blue beam, then the yellow beam to the other side. Eye of the Storm's casting. I am getting ready to do a lot of healing. I use my Thunder Focus Tea. I'm Rising Sun kicking, and I'm trying to do it without using cooldowns, but I ended up having to use Revival there. You basically have to line up your cooldowns. This is the reason, and I just actually recorded my Chi-Ji and Yulan video. This is a very good reason to go get the Celestials, basically the 1 minute Celestial thing, and you can basically have Eye of the Storm up for that first one, or I'm sorry, Chi-Ji up for that first Eye of the Storm, and then up for the second one if you have that 1 minute cooldown. But I am not running that currently, so I try to use Revival for the first one and save Chi-Ji for the second one, which, here we come back. I'm pretty sure she builds up like stacks and she'll get stronger if she stays on one side. Like earlier, I don't know if that's the right mechanic or how it works, but that's how I like to think of it. And as you see, like we're getting in here, we're popping defensives. Hopefully the whole raid is. Another Feral Druid did because they got smacked. We use our Sheilun's Gift, which comes in very clutch on this boss. I mean, this and you hear me on the mic in real time say, oh, no. But yeah, this boss is like the main reason why Sheilun's Gift is big, because it gives us that intermediate cooldown. It gives us something to use while Revival and Chi-Ji are off cooldown. Even though it's not perfect, it fully tops up 3 people and just lets our Vivify hit the other person. Or it's felt really nice, and especially in this dungeon, it's kind of before Sheilun's Gift, I wouldn't have even tried a +20. I would have made this probably my last or second to last +20. I basically go in order of easiest to hardest in my opinion, just because why would you start with your hardest one? But now I was like, I kind of want to give this one a shot, and that's why this is my first +20. Okay, so this next hallway, very similar to this hallway, so I'm going to kind of skip through and to the fighting, because I know you guys only like to watch the fighting. I'm pretty sure nothing exciting happened there. There weren't any deaths, so we just killed it. But now we are entering into what I like to call the jungle, and this is where you find the boss Fenryr. I drank some mana thinking that I was going through the portal like an idiot. But yeah, there are some pretty surprisingly deadly packs here. This dragon has a frontal. It's Lightning Breath, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Lightning Breath. But I think it aims it at the tank, so as long as the tank stands still and you don't stand on him, you're fine. But the problem with this dragon is he is like very inefficient. He doesn't give a lot of percent, but he takes a long time to kill. So as you see now, we have him, and do we have one of the deer pulled? We do have one of the deer pulled, which the deer kind of hurts. Honestly, it's kind of doesn't make sense how much it hurts, but that big dragon, it's like a mini boss for only 3%. It's a lot of groups like to skip it, which you can. It's there's a couple guide videos out there. There's one of those like the channels that make those 1 minute guides. They have some on how to skip it, but I mean, it's not like the end of the world if you pull it. But here we have Fenryr, and this is like the first half of the boss. He does have some damage checks, like some healing checks, I should say. So you just want to make sure that you try to keep the party topped up. You always want to have your ancient teachings rolling, but keep the party topped up for when those damage instants happen. So as you see, that he spawns a big red circle around him, and he hits everyone in it, and it's a soak mechanic. So if one person's not in it, everyone else will take more damage. So you always want to be in it, always want to be in melee, and try your hardest to top up as many people as you can between the two. As you see, I'm not using any, well, I just summoned Chi-Ji, but I was trying to go without using cooldowns between, because we're not even on like the main part of the boss fight. That was a horrible Chi-Ji. But this mechanic, see that marker above my head, he actually will zigzag and hit everyone in them. So you basically just don't want to be stacked for that, so that you don't get hit twice or cleave someone else twice. They're almost kind of screw the party. But so yeah, you get him down to about like 60, 65, 70% health, and he runs to hide in his den, which you just have to go and kill him. But I do want to talk about these wolves right here, these little ads. They used to be so deadly before this last patch. They would literally one-shot your tank. They would all three do their big bite right once you pull them, and if they didn't pre-pop a defensive, they would actually get one shot. And if they did have a defensive, it would probably get them down to 20% health. It did a lot, but they literally just got rid of that cast. So these packs are kind of a joke, whereas they used to be like literally the hardest pack in the dungeon, because it was unavoidable, massive damage, tank buster damage. And if anyone else in the party accidentally pulled, they were gone. They would leap to you and kill you instantly. But now it's more in line. But part of me kind of wished they just tweaked it a bit instead of just completely removing their big damage, because I thought it was kind of cool, these packs right before the boss were really strong. But as you see there, I mean, they still do a lot of damage. So maybe it's for the best. They aren't like chunking your tank, so you can prioritize healing. So I feel like we want to get some mana back, just because it's a boss fight. Yeah, we get some mana back. This group is really chill about mana, but in this instance, they actually pull ahead of time. So he basically has the same mechanics here, same exact mechanics, except like now he spawns ads, which in our case, now that those ads are nerfed, is better for us, because we actually can cleave off those ads and make the healing a lot better. But he also gains this other mechanic, Scent of Blood. As you see, it went on our Hunter, and our Hunter immuned it. But let me go ahead and talk about it. So he will basically just chase that person, and if he gets to him, he will basically one-shot him. So you either want to run into his cave, or just run all the way out back where we came from, until he stops chasing you. It's really that simple. You might want to, if it's not you, you might want to target the person who he does target, and Tigers lost him. But here it was the Hunter, and that was pretty lucky. But a lot of classes have some ways to immune it and just make sure he doesn't really run after you, to keep everyone still and doing damage. There, I go ahead and hit Revival, because as you see, there's not much that we do here for a bit. But as you see, this guy, he runs into the cave, and you have like just enough range to get in there. But there are some problems where right now, if he would have done his red ring, it could have screwed the pooch, or it kind of messes up your targeting or your camera while you're in the cave. And I've had a group wipe because we could not see a thing. And we didn't see that we had the mark on our head. But for the most part, he's pretty easy, as long as you can just plan to when those slams happen. So don't use Rising Sun Kick, for example, and Thunder Focus Tea off cooldown. Try to, like, if they're off cooldown, you know that he's about to slam again, just hold it for like those 2 seconds so you have that immunity there. So here we pull the bears, and we're going big. I think the idea is like this tank was hoping that we would have Lust here, and maybe he's done this pull before with Lust. But yeah, it's a bolstering week. So spoiler alert, this does not go well. Maybe he's thinking he could kite it because we get that speed boost from killing Fenryr. One of the bears just completely obliterated the rogue. I've never pulled these bears before. I don't know if it's a frontal. But as you hear, I'm like breathing heavy in my mic. I'm like, okay, it's starting to get a little scary. Yeah, so Tank's just kiting, but I'm pretty sure he gets caught. I'm pretty sure see, he's starting to get hit. I don't think he's as quick as he thought he was. We're still just trying to do as much damage as possible. I see the writing on the wall. I know we're going to wipe here. Tank's about to get smacked. I'm also thinking, I'm like, hey, maybe it works. But I'm just trying to do as much damage and try to kill as like many of these little dudes as possible, because we did not just do all that for nothing. But here I'm like, is there a way I can heal someone else? But no, they just wipe us. But we got a couple percent from that. I think we killed like one or two of them, or maybe three. But yeah, they're throwing up question marks and saying ouchie, and like, yeah, I mean, that was a pretty sus pool. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we could have healed the tank a bit more. There's no point in me analyzing that pool, because I just feel like you probably won't be seeing that, especially in like plus 15s. Let's skip ahead 30 seconds. We end up just getting the rest of the percentage down below, or in the room, I should say. These packs we've seen all of them before. The etch guys are back. The frontal guys are. I don't think the frontal guys are in this pool. Actually, I think it's like one of the only pools, but there's just a lot more casters. There's like this thunderous thing which you guys saw go off. It just does a thundering thing. But yeah, I think there is one frontal guy beating on the tank right now, but yeah, nothing super special. Let's see. Then we do have to pull these guys in the middle, and they're just a beefed up version of that. So I'll get that, but it's a 3 stack, so it's nice for our blackout kick cleave. So that's kind of what carries us through this pack. The whole time we're pulling this, I am just watching casts, trying to kick what I can. Pretty sure I try to ROP one thing here. No, I'm not even running ROP. So yeah, we're just trying to do as much damage as possible. Watching health bars. That hunter, not the hunter in my group, but that one ad that keeps doing the shots. He does hit hard. I remember I've had some groups lose people here because he does hit hard, but our group is handling it like champs. They are not taking damage. But yeah, while we kill these last two dudes, I do want to touch on that again. I mean, we have a Feral Druid and a Prot Warrior. Ask me a year ago if I'd be doing a plus 20 with a Feral Druid, Prot Warrior, and Mistweaver, I would have laughed at you, because they were just that bad. And I mean, they're still not that much better. Feral Druid's looking very good. Well, okay, I shouldn't say they aren't much better, because Prot Warrior is the meta. I mean, they are just like groundbreakingly busted. But like Mistweaver is not much better than we were in Shadowlands. Some would argue we're worse just because we lost our best cooldown. They've spread that power around our class, but it made us a lot more fun. I mean, I'm having a blast. But you know, we're not strong relatively to other healers. Feral Druids, you just don't see them in keys a lot. You really don't. As strong as they are, they just aren't getting a lot of love. And same, I guess you could argue that with us. We don't get the recognition. I do think that we can do any key level that any other class can do. I think we're at that level where, like, if the execution's right, it's there. It's just the execution is just harder because our class isn't as powerful by a small amount. But yeah, these guys are super easy. You just have to get to 84% before going up. Maybe it's 86. It's either 84 or 86. But basically, we're perfect. But you kill 3 big ads, just like what was that dungeon called in Shadowlands? Oh man, I can't think of it. But the one where you have the 3 archons at the top, just like that, we have to kill those. I almost fall off the side, but I'm gonna skip forward. You basically have these 4 like big dudes. Maybe I can get to when we pull the first one. Yeah, I'm not used to this dungeon enough to know why every group I've gone into goes to that second one and lets him start hitting the tank. Because we aren't even damaging that second one. Maybe it's because it's a warrior, and maybe there's like some mechanic where they build rage off getting hit. That actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that might be it. But I'm pretty sure our Demon Hunter tank did it 1 key. Not too sure, but you know, I'm just these packs are really easy. You just have to watch the Unruly Yell, and then I'm pretty sure this last guy does like spawns an ad that you can't let walk to the boss. Yeah, I'm just focusing on making sure every kick gets kicked, and he'll throw a dagger at someone, so you just heal that one person. But you know, since I have the Jade Serpent statue, just Soothing Mist them, apply like 1 or 2 hots on them, and they'll get healed up before the next one. So it's not a dangerous mechanic, just Vivify if it's up. And yeah, these guys are really easy, so I'm actually going to skip forward 30 seconds, and we are killing the last one. So, yeah. As you see, we have that ad over there. It was trapped. So that's good, but I'm just keeping an eye on it, making sure there's not another one spawning, because we can para it. And yeah, same old. These guys are really nothing special. Even on Fortified, they don't do enough damage. Call Ancestor, you just spawn another guy. So I'm keeping my eye out for those. But yeah, this guy falls over. I drink mana. The RP happens. It's a movie and a half. Like, it takes so long. We're low on time. We have to kill 2 bosses in 6 minutes. With a Feral Druid, Mistweaver, Prot Warrior. Unreal stuff. Like this is the kind of stuff I live for. That video that I made back in Shadowlands with the Prot Warrior Mistweaver, I think it's called like New Meta ? Because I was just memeing at that point. We were so bad. That's the kind of stuff I love. That was one of my favorite videos to make. But yeah, this guy is super easy, really. He'll charge one person, he'll hit him. Those tornadoes spawn in here, but when that shield's up, you just have to stand in this little oval that it creates, and you're shielded from the big blast. If you're out of there, you're just taking massive damage. So just stay behind the shield and don't find out what happens when you aren't behind the shield. But starting on the second one, he starts to spawn these ads. Now that helps us, helps our healing, because we can cleave off those with Blackout Kick on our Fey line. But they do leave behind those toxic pools that just slowly tick. It's not a lot of damage. It's really not. But the more amounts of these small damage, like that charge that just hit the rogue, the more of those that there are, the more it starts to add up and make the fight a little harder. So you just want to stay on top of those with your maintenance healing, making sure that you have Ancient Teachings rolling, and you're just not falling behind on damage, because then if something does come up, then that's when it gets scary. So as you see, it targets me. I don't even think I popped a defensive, because that is just, it's not scary, especially for us, a hot class, and especially because I'm running Jade Serpent Statue. It just makes mechanics like that a joke, where it'll do about, over the whole time of the dot, it'll do about 100% of your health. So as long as you keep like 1 or 2 hots on yourself, you'll heal yourself up in time. No problems at all. You can stun these ads, and you can also, I'm pretty sure you can ROP them, but if you ROP them, that just kind of spreads the chemicals around, so you don't want to be doing that. But yeah, this boss, super easy. This next boss, I will say, when the dungeon first like started again, I didn't play back when this was a big dungeon. I think it was Legion, maybe. Could be, I think it was Legion. Yeah, I wasn't around them. Yeah, me saying I can't believe we're timing this after the first boss, because I was basically AFK that whole first boss. But yeah, I didn't play, so I didn't know the mechanics. This rune thing, I would just die and die and die and die every time I'd pull this boss, and it would just go horribly. But now that I know the mechanic, it's not as bad. So I'm telling them, I'm putting it on YouTube. So if you're one of these guys, shout outs to you. You guys were awesome. This group was sick. But like this guy's saying, we just cannot feed. We cannot die. We have one shot at this boss, and it has to go perfectly. And basically, we can't lose a single person. I'm making a mistake right here. I'm applying hots. I don't need to be applying hots. I need to be doing damage. Just in case someone dies, we're up on damage as much as possible. We're kind of in a situation where every little bit of damage counts. But for this boss, he'll spawn these swords that will pulse out orbs that just go across the room. So as long as you stay away from those orbs and from the swords, you're fine. When he spawns a sword, it'll do a pulse of damage, so you just have to make sure people are topped up after that. You know, Essence Font's good for that. Thunder Focus T Essence Font's good. But like you guys just saw, he'll suck everyone in and then do a big circle that's basically the size of the room. So you want to tank them off the center, so it's just easier to get to any side, basically. And you have to get out of his ring before the cast finishes. Now, as you guys just saw, he will put a mark over your head, and it's one of the runes on the floor. And you just have to go to your corresponding mark. So it's nice to kind of know in your head where each mark is. But I think for me, I came up with like a little thing like H, N, O, something. Basically just whatever letter they look like. And I kind of just kept telling myself that over and over in my head, like whatever the pattern was, so that I knew. Oh God, as you guys hear, my alarm is going off in the video, so I'm going to turn that down. But if you do the rune thing correctly, you get a huge healing and damage boost, and that's when you become a little angel. And I think that's kind of what the the weapon was referencing in on the Archon, the nine boss that you would get. You become this big archangel. But as you see, people are dying because they're not getting their runes fast enough. You get full healed once you get to your rune, but it's just nice to put like help people out, like life cocoon people, pop a defensive because you are ticking away until you get to your rune. But as you see, we timed it. We barely timed it. How much time do we have? I can go back 10 seconds. Oh, never mind. We still had like a minute, so we were chilling. But yeah, you do your most damage on these Archon phases, and that's why we held less, I think, for that first Archon phase. But yeah, we timed it. Timed my first +20, and since then I've done a couple. I think I have like 25, 30 something IO now. So I'm getting up there. I actually cracked the top 500 Mistweaver monks recently. And shout outs to these guys. They were good. And shout out to everyone that's actually been inviting me into their group. Oh my God, the people do not invite Mistweavers. I've spent hours trying to get into a group, but now lately, now that my IO is finally up, people are inviting me. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys like this content and like hearing me talk about what's going on in a key. I wasn't as analytical. I was kind of just talking about the dungeon a little bit, but let me know down below what you liked about this video and what you want to see in the next time. But until then, hit that subscribe button on the way out. It's that red button. It's a free click of a button, free to do so. I mean, it takes a second, but it helps me out a ton. Every single time that you guys do that, every single one of you that's clicked, you've got me closer and closer to 1,000 subscribers, and we are so close to hitting that. So make sure you hit that button and be in that first 1,000. Help me get there, and I appreciate you guys so much. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and take care.